Welcome to the Blended. We stay with the bonus tracks.
We just get into these little conversations outside of the pod, and then we're like, we gotta lay this down.
But let's just jump right into it, right?
Okay.
Ready, set, and red light, green light, go.
So we were talking about perspective. That's I think the topic of this bonus pod is perspective. My perspective as a child having a stepfather versus your perspective being the father of daughters.
She's doing that PC thing, yeah.
Both biological and not biological. So we got into everything was fine and dandy with me and my stepdad up until I'm 14 years old. I lie about having a boyfriend. I'm not allowed to have one until I'm 16 years old. And as we say in Spanish, pa que fue eso, which means like, there goes that. Like that was all she wrote. That's all he needed to think that I was going down some bad hoe path.
What do you mean? I feel like you just cut and paste.
Hashtag the hoe path.
Yeah, no, you just hashtag the hoe path. I feel like you just cut and paste 82% of
Okay,
the
well,
setup.
tell me. Okay, well, set
Okay,
it up.
so what I heard was you turned 14.
Yeah.
You lied
Mm-hmm.
to your parents.
Yeah, bold-faced lie right into their faces. They
Boom.
know the truth, and I was like, boom, lies.
Yeah,
And they were
yeah.
like,
Yeah. So they got the body blow.
yeah.
They got the body blow in the sternum.
Yep.
Took the wind out of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's seen his little girl telling a lie that could be very, very damaging in her life.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, that's when the topsy-turvy hit.
Yeah.
Right? That's
So I lied to them about having a boyfriend. I'm not allowed to date till I'm 16.
Right.
Right? I'm now 14. Dating a guy for maybe a couple months. And when you say dating, we're talking about true high school dating where it's like we'll see each other passing in the hallways.
Right.
Right? Like
Little kissy kiss.
right, like
Yeah.
nothing crazy.
So, but a little kissy kiss.
I don't even I think I kissed him.
Yeah.
That was it.
So was that in the hallway or not like?
Yeah.
Or the bathroom?
Yeah.
Probably the bathroom.
You know what? I don't even remember. It was at
Right.
school because
Right.
I mean, how else
Right.
are you? I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, 14-year-old getting your first kiss, is that really a breaking news?
I don't know about breaking news, but I do know.
Is that now a
kisses-
typical age to be kissed and explore those things at that age?
Could be. It could be.
I think it is.
I don't think you have statistics on that, but it could be the age that
I'm gonna Google average age of first kiss and see what comes up.
Okay.
Or we'll defer to that later.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a sidebar, just because I think I'm right and you're wrong.
Right, yeah. But it is
So-
important
Mhm.
whether it was in the hallway or the bathroom, because it just
What, the secrecy?
the
act?
It's not so much the act. It's the where can you be led. That's
But
important.
that's anything. That's drugs,
We're not talking
alcohol,
about drugs,
sex.
though.
We're talking but it's all the same thing. The
Right.
concern is that this is a gateway, right? You know, they say marijuana is a gateway drug,
Absolutely.
right?
Right.
The concern
right.
is that lying about having a boyfriend and kissing him is a gateway to you being a hoe and being pregnant by 16.
Okay.
So I'm caught in a lie. My mom takes the perspective of, okay, you were at 100% trust, now you're down at 0, and you have to do everything in your power to earn back that trust.
Okay.
And how do you suppose that happens, Aaron?
I think from a different lens, right? So everyone has a different lens of how to gain trust back.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I've learned is I've always had a different lens of how to gain trust than my wife had, and a time frame of when that trust was given back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you start to get back of trust? I think the way you start it is through that child's actions and behaviors that's not so attached to the act.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's not so attached to, because what are you gonna? Okay, I haven't kissed a guy in like 8 months, Dad.
Right.
Check my lips.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't work, right?
It's
so,
how you're taking care of your room, how you acting with your brother, you're taking care of responsibilities, what your grades like,
'Cause it's
which, by the way, none of that was ever a question. None of that ever was a problem. It was really isolated to, you lied, and now my fear is this is a gateway to your behavior in the future as a young lady, which I get, 14 years old. It's a scary thing to have to keep, you're going into the crazy teen years.
So do you think at 14 to be able to formulate, it's like an affair.
Okay.
right? So you say you have an affair. Well, we know it's not always just the act of the affair.
Right.
Like, it's not just that day you slept with him or he
Right.
slept with her.
Yeah.
It was the setup before that, right?
What
It was
happened that led to that happening?
what happened that led to it? How many lies did you tell?
Right.
Like,
What was the premeditation?
Yeah, what was the premeditation? How'd you allow yourself to get wrapped up in somebody else's web?
And for
Right.
me, I'm 14 years old, and of course, you want to date. You're interested in the opposite sex. That's human nature. That's the answer
Right.
to that question in my particular situation.
Right.
My mom takes a step of, okay, we have to just grow this thing as a family. We're going to have to just work our way back up to the top. My stepdad takes the opposite perspective. My stepdad's way of parenting was, I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to do and the negative outcomes and how awful it's going to be, and hope that that pushes you to do the right thing. So kind of giving negative feedback instead of being positive.
So okay, so just to be clear. So when he says to you, is he saying this is a behavior that if you do, this can happen? Or is he saying you are this?
True story. Remember back in the day they had those Girls Gone Wild
Yeah.
commercials?
Yeah.
We're watching TV once, one came on, and he goes, and he looks at the commercial, and he looks at me, and he says, you know, I look at these commercials, and I go, that's my daughter. I look at him like, these bitches are taking their tops off on television for thousands of people to see. I lied about kissing a boy and having a boyfriend, and now I'm on Girls Gone Wild? Like,
So-
I think he was trying to put the fear in me of, like, this is how bad things are going to be, and this is what the path down your head, and I'm going, what is wrong with you? Like, what outside of this isolated situation has ever given you any idea for me to think that I'm going to be some type of crazy hoe and be, you know, promiscuous and be, you know, open and loose with my body? I've never given you any reason to think that. If you think this is the gateway to that, I understand that fear, but why go to an extreme?
I like how you're using the word fear.
Yeah. He parented with fear. Instead of parenting through love like my mom did, she said, I love you, you messed up, and you're going to have to work to earn this back, but I love you, and we're going to work this out. He let his love for me, his fear, instead of his...
You caught yourself there. You caught yourself there.
Listen. I'm not saying he didn't love me. I'm saying that his love for me was filtered through fear, instead of filtering that love through patience and kindness and, okay, we're going to work through this, and support. My mother supported me and said, I'm not going to give you crazy leeway, but I'm going to give you baby steps to work this thing out. He let his fear take over his love for me and parented through that fear.
And because he loved you, his parenting became, he was in fear that this could happen.
Correct.
And he spoke that out loud, right? So it's like saying to a kid, I'm gonna show you what the worst scenario, scared straight. I'm gonna send you down Skid Row,
Right.
because you picked up a cigarette.
Correct.
And you pick up a cigarette, and I'm gonna send you down Skid Row, and you're gonna see from a cigarette that this can
how you
happen.
become a crackhead and homeless.
Right. And because how you become
And those are two extremes.
those are two extremes. But statistics tell us that if not checked, that those are the extremes that people go, because again, it goes back to that level of decision making. So, at hindsight being 2020, do you still disagree with
the way he handled it?
Let's take out how you felt, right, at the moment, and say now, do you feel like any of the way he handled it was productive?
No, I don't, because remember first podcast we discussed how you said you parent each child differently because of different personalities?
Right.
You know how you have the 5 love languages with relationships, and you know, my love language might be gifting and yours might be affection and
Right.
quality time and whatever. I don't think we were speaking the same language. My mother knew how to speak the same language to me. I wasn't going to go away with murder, but she said, okay, we're going to work this out. My stepdad said, wear a chastity belt, you're stuck in the house, you're not going anywhere, doing anything forever until But how am I going to prove to you that I can be trusted if I don't have those opportunities? I'm not saying to go out and do crazy, wild things and not have parameters and rules and regulations, but you have to give a little leeway for me to prove to you that I am capable of making responsible decisions and not hold me accountable to one decision that I made wrong. So no, till this day, I don't think he handled that correctly. And I think if you asked him, he would say, yeah, I didn't take the right route with that one. Because I don't think he knew how to parent me in that way. I needed love and support. And he just put the fear in God of me that I was going to be some awful person. When I knew that wasn't what I was capable of. It wasn't in my natural instinct to be that person. I messed up. Everyone does.
I often think about some of the decisions I made with my girls.
Mm-hmm.
And even with dating, it was an absolute no-go.
Yeah.
And I was a tyrant about that.
Right.
I don't know, looking back, I say to myself, what you say earlier, it's natural. It's a natural occurrence.
Yeah.
And by fear.
You know what I hate about parents? I'm speaking from a 14-year-old just scorn perspective.
Right.
Y'all forget that y'all were 14 once.
In some aspects we do.
It's natural. Y'all forget that.
I don't think we forget it. I think that we can be frozen by fear. And depending on what the child is doing. You know, so many times you see these kids go from zero. You know what? I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we lay down to our children every single day.
I would agree with that too. I'm like, what type of child do you think you've raised?
Right, yeah.
You're not giving yourself enough credit. You think, like, what the hell?
That's
you know?
what I think. That's what I think.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And see, and that for me is a difference between, in my perspective, parenting from a mother's perspective versus parenting from a father's perspective.
Yeah, because
my mother was able to parent through love. We're gonna work this out, and everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna march forward. And my dad was just stuck. He was just stuck.
Because dads don't have the leg room to always. Well, it's funny how it's always when it's a decision wants to go one way. It's always funny how that's wrapped into love, right? And then when dad makes the lion decision that he needs to make, then that's not wrapped in love. That you're not giving the lion his due and why he's a lion, why he protects the pride, why he does all the things that he does that he cannot afford to say. So if I'm your dad and you lie to me once, I'm absolutely going to look at it, and it's about a boy, another prospective lion that's coming up, 14, 15, he's almost a man. So if you say to me, your mom's going to handle it completely different than I'm going to handle it, absolutely. The old adage, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. But when they say that, they don't just say it like, they say it almost like goo goo gaga, but it kind of takes away from that strength that the protector, why he flipped the switch on his protection. What I did when I had the situation was I got blindsided. I mean, completely blindsided. Did not know that was possible. And I would say it was basic, like yours, kissing, or just hanging out, smiling at each other a lot, going to each other's
baby
lockers.
Stuff.
Yeah, baby stuff that can potentially not be baby stuff, just
if unchecked.
Let me just throw that out there.
I get that.
If unchecked, good word.
Yeah.
Good word.
Here's the thing.
If
there's
unchecked,
a difference, but that's my whole
let me
point.
finish.
Though.
You asked me.
My bad. You're right.
So yeah, I gotta stop her from bullying me, y'all. So how did I handle it? I shut everything down. I remember saying to my wife, she's gonna be at home, and she's gonna be doing the things at home, making sure this house is right. Like she's gonna get into her studies. Like I remember she took a summer off that summer. Do I regret that? No, because I think there was some things to be learned there. I think where I regret is how long I kept that in my spirit about her.
That's the point I'm trying to. I couldn't have said that any better. I don't I wasn't saying that my parents didn't have the right to be upset with me and say that they didn't have the right to put me through, the rigmarole to get their trust back.
Right.
100% we had obstacles we had to go through.
Right.
And I had to pass with flying colors to earn their trust.
Right.
But Eric, I couldn't have said it better myself. I could not find the wording of it. That is the perfect way to describe it. He kept that spirit of what I had done when I was 14 years old all the way through when I was in college.
Right. Yeah,
and I'm going, how could you think that of me?
Right.
And what have I done since that one isolated incident for you to think that that's the path I'm going down?
Right. Sometimes fear, I think sometimes in mine, just talking about me and mine's, that was what I regret, because that produces more that level of, you might say, you told me another lie. You lied to me, or you lied to me again. Mm-hmm. But when you produce the level of fear, you don't produce the open chain.
Right.
Where you're open to come to me and say, here's the deal.
Right.
And
because it's the structure is broken.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The structure is like you started the mm-hmm. structure being broken.
Right.
And I never. My mom used to say this, and I use it. So we're gonna take that thing that you did, and we're gonna bury it, and we're gonna put the dirt on top of it. Now, if you do something too quick that shows me you're not trustworthy, then all I gotta do is wipe that dirt away.
And now we're adding.
And there it goes. Mm-hmm. It goes again. Again, wipe the dirt. It's still there. Mm-hmm. So it's never put away.
Right.
That behavior is never put away. If you don't, and you show me that you're trustworthy, then the dirt just gets harder and harder and harder, right. and then you don't realize it's there.
Yeah.
And then it's over.
Right.
And I think I would have done that. I would have done that better, or mm-hmm. I would have set them up to show me.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying as far as.
It's like back to the affair example.
Right.
Okay. One of the partners had an affair, right? Now we both got to rebuild trust because you messed things up. God forbid my husband cheats on me, and I say, okay, we're gonna stay together. I can't throw the affair in his face every time we get into a fight.
But you're going to.
No. Not of a mature human being who's working through my shit. You're talking about you're talking about the average person. You just told me last podcast I'm not the average person because I'm dealing.
I'm not saying
okay, you're saying the general you.
Yeah, the general you.
What I'm saying is the only way, the healthy way, non-toxic way to get through that type of injury is not to bring it up every time. I can't keep his spirit as a cheater and say, once a cheater, always a cheater. Everybody cheated on me. Thoroughly work through this issue, work it out, and now baby steps, we have to earn that trust back. But if I keep throwing that in your face, we're not going to get anywhere. And that's what I felt like my stepdad was doing with me.
I agree. I mean, as much as I don't want to agree, and I have my hands folded.
Yeah, you're mad.
No, I do agree. Like I said, if I had to do it all over again, there's so many things, there's so many of those moments raising girls or boys, I'm sure, but I didn't raise the boys. I have my son now, but I didn't raise back then. Mm-hmm. There's so many of those moments that I wish I would have been able to say, okay, this happened and we're going to move on. I might have said we're going to move on, but if you turned your head an eighth of a degree, mm-hmm. I'm thinking, oh, there it goes again.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for, was it there? Was it going? There it goes again. Was there something there?
Right.
When I say there it goes again, did he see something in you? Do you think you worked hard to say you can trust me?
100%.
So
I didn't do anything wrong after that. No, there was not one thing. I felt like he was working to find things to get mad at me for.
So
working to prove me wrong that I'm saying, because my mom was saying, well, she's doing all right. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, things are going positively. I always felt like he was looking.
Like, what was going positively?
No, just, again, it was.
You mamas kill me with that. No, she's doing, everything is well. She's doing good.
Okay. Tell me what I was missing. Let's go through this. I'm in school. I make A's and B's. I clean up my room. I do the dishes after dinner because my stepdad cooked, and I always did the dishes. Or it was me and my mom took turns doing that. Cleaned my bathroom, got myself to school, didn't miss the bus. What else do you want a 14, 15-year-old do?
So plays devil advocate. What do you think he might have seen? Interlook at yourself at that
I think
age.
it was about his feelings, and I think because he wasn't being kind to me, I wasn't being kind to him. I think it was about his feelings about
so
me.
Here we're getting a little deeper,
yeah,
y'all.
but wait.
Here
But
we're getting a little
wait.
deeper, y'all.
We discussed this before. Whose responsibility is it to be the adult here? Certainly not 14, 15-year-old.
I think we as parents have to give the opportunity to build. And I think if we give the opportunity, we hope that when we're given that opportunity back to you, that we have first of all, I think we parents have to have a strategic plan on what is the get back.
I don't think there was a plan. I think they just thought we're going to put her on lockdown and see what happens.
Well, that's the go-to.
Lockdown. What is lockdown going to prove to you though, as me as a child?
No, but it's the go-to when something happens that's so out of this world, in that moment.
Oh my God, so out of this world. I kissed a boy at 14.
Well, remember, it is out of this world when it comes left field. Like
yeah, because you're not expecting any of it. I get that too. I get that too.
That's me. That's me walking up to you and going boo.
Yeah.
And you get scared and jump out of your shoes.
Yeah. I didn't see you coming.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that.
Right. You didn't see it coming.
That's
so
that's fair. That's
right. So it's out of this world, completely out of this world. Like I'm exaggerating, but and so when that happens, you go through that moment, and as a dad, as a protector,
yeah,
you go in that moment. Do I think we dads have to come out of that moment?
Yeah.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
Do I think it was harder?
Yeah.
Because he was a stepdad?
Yeah.
And he might have not been able to deal with you the way he would have dealt with you. He might not have been able to, like I said, deal with you in that manner. Maybe, because your mom, I'm sure, had the handcuffs on him, on his ankles, on his feet, on everything.
I disagree because there was no decision when it came to me that didn't go by my stepdad first.
No. I would bet you money that's not true.
I'm calling my mom and ask.
I would bet you money that they've spent many nights in the room arguing over a point, and your mom at some point said she played the card. And we talked about the card in the one podcast.
I wonder. I know I played the card. I know we got into it once and I said, "You're not my dad." And that was messed up. I played that card once. I don't know if she ever played that card with him.
Absolutely.
I doubt it. And my mom has always had the utmost respect and given my stepdad carte blanche.
No, your dad had carte blanche A. He didn't have carte blanche. I have carte blanche.
Carte blanche light.
Yeah, he had carte blanche light, yo. He didn't pay for the full game. He didn't pay for the full game. No. Let me rephrase that. He paid for the full game, but he didn't get
full access.
He didn't get the full access. So because of that, there was many times that your mom vetoed him. And the worst thing you can do, I
don't see my mom doing that. I really don't. I think my mom gave him a lot of leeway to do whatever he thought was, the right decision.
I bet you she vetoed him about the marching band. I bet you.
Really?
I bet you.
No, my stepdad. Okay, what he's talking about, to fill in the viewers, the listenership, is at some point I was on such bad lockdown. I'm 14, 15 years old, and my friends are going out, and because some of my friends were allowed to date at that age, and we're going out and on dates and whatever. So I'm at home on a Friday night like a friggin' loser. So I was in band at the time. I played flute. I had been playing flute since the 6th grade. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to just join marching band so I can get out of the house on a Friday night. And have something to do and be around friends and people my own age and not, and it's a school activity, so they can't say no.
So when you went to marching band,
yeah,
where was that boy that you used to like?
He wasn't in the band. I had let him go. I honestly, the whole situation put the fear in God of me, and I said, I can't deal with this. It's not worth. Again, it was baby stuff. It wasn't like I was madly in love with him. It wasn't worth me being with him.
So for your whole high school career, nothing else?
Oh, of course, when I was officially allowed to date.
You're officially allowed to date.
Just kidding, I dated another boy.
See, there we go.
Let me tell you what. You're gonna love this. Wait. gonna love this. You're going to die. You're gonna love
Yeah.
this. The next boy I dated was in marching band.
See? So I'm asking mom.
And he was like the baby love of my life who broke my heart. And he was a very sweet guy. And he was like true, like
Did you tell your
first
mom?
love. Of course not. What are you, crazy?
Tell your dad.
No, of course not.
So I want you to.
He broke up with me anyway.
And another time, I want you to ask your mom if she vetoed your dad on the marching band. I remember a time.
No, my stepdad is very like, as long as it's school oriented, we're good.
I remember a time.
Unless he had reason to suspect that I was doing crazy wild stuff, which I wasn't. There was nothing to. I mean, everything's pretty structured. There's, you know.
Yeah, except for the baby love. But I digress.
First of all, we barely even kissed.
Right, barely even kissed.
God.
So I would venture to guess that they beefed over that. He said no. She cannot be in that position. He probably seen something in you. Again, I'm not justifying the actions. Really? Some of the things that I've said to my kids, we parents. I'm not even gonna take the easy way out. I'm not gonna say we parents. I'll take my flaw. And
be accountable.
I'll be accountable. And some of the things that I've said was wrong. Mm-hmm. And it was built out of emotion, and I was aggravated, or I was scared, or I was in fear, or I thought you were going to get pregnant, or you're going to bring a hoodlum in my life,
right.
And 99 things that I thought. And there's certain things that I know my wife was like, she was able to pull that card that we talked about in the last pod, where she's able to say, okay, I'm pulling the card. That doesn't make me feel comfortable, and I don't want that decision to happen. And when that happens, you look and you go, okay, you aggravated, but that's when you have carte blanche light, and you realize I have carte blanche light, because you're not doing that with your biological children.
We got into this a little bit. Let me, because we'll wrap up with this.
Yeah.
You asked me, and it was key.
Right.
Why do you think that your stepdad reacted that way? Number one, I think it was fear.
Right.
But I think what instigated the fear was that our relationship was not what he wanted it to be. Because he is being cold because he's upset with me. And guess what? I'm not going to return that cold with warmth.
Right.
So now, instead of working to take, both of us, we're both responsible for this. Instead of taking steps to come together, we only took steps to take us away from one another.
Right. I know that feeling.
You know?
Oh, I do know that
right?
feeling. Oh, absolutely.
So, and I think this comes down to biological versus not biological. With my brother, he would have been like, all right, we got to fix this, yada, yada, that's my son, blah, 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 blah. He loves me, but that love is conditional.
But it's only, no, but
wait, let me finish.
Go ahead.
Just like my love for him was conditional. Because if you think I was going up to him saying, I love you, daddy, blah, blah, I wasn't. I was only talking to you when I had to. I was not being, warm. I wasn't being rude because I'm respectful, but I wasn't being kind either. And you're not going to get that kindness out of me by making me feel that way, the way you were acting towards me. And we were both in our corners of the boxing ring, and none of us was coming back into the match. And that is the difference between biological and not biological.
Mostly facilitated. So his love for you was not conditional.
No, it wasn't.
Because he, like me, would have jumped off a cliff for you.
Oh, 100%. I'm saying...
So it's conditional for you.
Yes.
Because you're not jumping off the cliff for him.
No, it wasn't.
Right. So when we say...
But now the funny part is I would jump off a cliff for him, but not for my biological father, as an adult.
Right, as an adult, right. But at that age, you're not... You
can't see that stuff then.
No, you can't see that stuff. You can't see that his love is not... And he's not being mean to you when he's not responding to you in a certain way. Let me give you an example. I have this. This is like a mirror. I'm looking at you right now, and I see one of my children. And not because I'm old, just because I'm age-wise. And when I didn't respond to you, it wasn't because I'm trying to show you like, I'm disappointed in this action that you're doing. And where I made the mistake is, again, allowing it not to be ingrained in the spirit.
Right.
That's where we make our mistakes. When I say, and my own daughter, my biological daughter, you know, like she comes with love, big time.
Yeah.
And she'll say to me, Dad, dang, let it go.
Yeah.
Whereas my stepdaughter may just be like, well, I'm gonna go into this war with you because you know what, you're not my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm not coming from a standpoint as you're not my daughter.
Yeah, I'm always coming from love. You are my daughter, and this is how I'm gonna handle the situation.
Well, not only this is how I'm gonna handle the situation, but I'm going to show you this is how a dad responds.
Correct.
When he sees something, that pertains to his little girl, his princess. But somehow you have the ability to say and look at me like, I'm not your princess. So there, I'm not your princess.
You know what's interesting? I think because maybe they came into your life older.
Right.
Because my stepdad's always been in my life since I was 3, so I don't even know my biological parents together.
Right.
I never thought of my stepdad in that way. Like, I thought he always had every right to love on me or discipline me or whatever. Anything a dad would do, he had all the right. He had all the scope, all the leeway.
That's what you thought, but he didn't, right?
Well, I can't speak to what my mom allowed or didn't allow.
Right.
I can only speak to what I received, which is a dad, day in, day out, discipline and love.
Right.
I never got like, well, why don't you go ask your mom or whatever. It was like, I'm going to go ask dad if I can go do this.
Right.
And it wasn't like, let me go ask mom now because she might give me a different answer. I
knew
dad was it.
So how do you go from that goes back to that, what I'm talking about conditional and unconditional, who sees it as conditional and unconditional. So how do you go from that to fix your mouth to say, you're not my dad?
Just saying the thing that I know is going to hurt him.
And that's right. And
I've had the same conversation with my father.
Right.
As an adult.
Right. And so that's what makes, but see, that
got ugly too.
Right. But one's deserving versus one that's not deserving. One you can't come back from versus one you can come back from. My daughter can say whatever she wants to me, but she can't gut shot me to a place where I feel like there's no...
Honestly, I think by that point we were in such a bad place that we just kind of both had to bury the hatchet and move on. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, I'll never forgive you. It took years. I'm not going to pretend it was easy. But it was like, if we're going to move forward, we just got to move forward. You know? It was enough was enough. Years of... Granted, I'm not pretending it was a all-out battle, World War III in my house. Thank God it wasn't for years.
Yeah.
But we'd have little, like, peaks and valleys. They'd be poop for a while, and then I wouldn't like a decision he made, and then, you know, I would act away, and he would act away, and
But you see how you sound, though?
Why?
Like, because you're talking from the standpoint of a stepchild that knows she has options. And so when and so that's how I know there was so many times where your mom and dad had these clashes, because you are absolutely speaking from, so this is a dad, I'm a stepdad, and I'm putting in big daddy heavy lifting work.
Yeah.
All day, every day. This is what I do, right? And my goal...
But I don't have to put in heavy duty daughter lifting work at all.
Yeah, you don't. Not only
I don't do anything.
No, not only do you not have to do anything, but you also can be like, you know what, arbitrarily, you're not my dad. Or you know what, I disagree with what such and such says. You have this ability that most children don't have with their dad, because their dad is the lion of the pride, and he doesn't, and you don't have the ability to say, Mom, I disagree with my dad. My daughter just told me today, she's 20, not today, but a couple days ago. I said to her, you can say whatever you want to me, and blah, blah, blah. She was like, brr. No, I can't, Dad. And I'm like, I still haven't dealt with that.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna get a letter or a text or something. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, why not?
And there's something you have done in the past to make her feel like I cannot come to you with everything. I cannot talk to you about everything. And you're like, how did that happen?
No, I knew maybe before.
Yeah.
But I thought we reconciled all of that, right? I thought but
yeah.
when we were in disagreements a couple of days ago, it was like I was real, boastful in my openness.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, we can't. And I was like,
Yeah.
I still haven't dealt with that. I'm like, what?
And here's the thing, at the end of the day, I think that's what really comes down to. Really dealing with it. Like, I wish I had the balls to go to my stepdad, or my stepdad had the balls to come to me and say, yo, what's really going on here? What's happening here? Why don't you like me? Because had he said that, I would have said, I love you. What are you talking about?
No, you would not have said that at 14. You would have gave him the most ugliest look imaginable.
First of all, don't pretend you know me because you don't.
Yeah, you would have rolled your eyes. You'd have been like this.
No, I was never that child. I was never that child.
So you telling me if he would have said you wouldn't have felt entitled to an apology for what you thought you were wrong?
No, I didn't do anything wrong.
So
he didn't do anything wrong. I was the one that was wrong.
So what would you have said if he would have said?
I would have been like, this is how I feel. I just feel like you're not giving me a chance to fix what I've done. And frankly, he wasn't. That's already been cemented. We discussed that. He was not giving me the opportunities to correct my behavior.
That a year and a half later, you was hanging out with Guillermo.
His name was Adrian.
Oh, Adrian, yeah. A week and a half later.
And I also made out with his brother.
Brother, come on, man. See, you.
I actually made out with his brother before I dated Adrian later, and then actually it's why we broke up, because the older brother got mad that I was dating the other brother.
Girls going wild.
Even though, F that. First of all, I can't. See, this is the dad in you. Girls gone wild because I kissed 3 boys.
No, but you can see this level of decision making that you are easily turnable.
What were you doing?
Easily turnable.
Turnable to what? To kiss boys?
No.
To experience things as a 15, 16-year-old person?
No, you were easily. Yeah, the ears are tickled, and we dads are like, yo, your ears can be tickled. That, in our minds, right or wrong, I'm just giving the dad perspective. If your ears can be tickled in that manner, that for us, that quick. Why that quick? Because just yesterday you were 7.
No, not yesterday. You need to grow up. Not yesterday I was 7. I was 10 years ago.
I know. I'm saying.
And you need to wake up.
No. So in that moment.
That's you not letting go. That's not on me.
No, it's not. Oh my God.
That's you not letting go. I don't have to tell you. It's like the other day when Marissa was here and I said, she's 20 years old. You are her advisor. She can do whatever she wants in life. You said, no, we didn't have that discussion. I said, no. You are still our parent, but you are in an advising role as a parent right now.
Until it's time for me to jump off the bridge. Until it's time for me to come around the corner and snatch some dude and protect. Until it's time for me to put my life on the line for you. Until it's time for me to
Parenting is a thankless job.
No, it's
yes, it is. It is. Parenting is a thankless job. You want it? Here it is.
You hear this, people? You hear this, people? That's the blended, baby.